You probably know, for quite a long time there has been a concerted and wicked plot to put the British National Party out of business. It has failed, ladies and gentlemen. We're still here and everything is rolling in our favour. So what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to stand up and give a 10-second silence, because that's all it needs, a 10-second silence for the death of the plot to kill off the BNP. Thank you. 10 seconds. That's it. That's all it deserves. That felt good, didn't it? That felt good. It's good to be on the winning side. Now then, without much ado, I'm going to introduce to you the local MEP, who's going to say one or two things. I think he's going to say it about 20 minutes, hopefully, which will mean we can get through things. He was on the radio this morning. The television backed off from covering him live. Whether that's got something to do with Jimmy Savile, I don't know. I really don't know. Whether they were too fearful of attacking us with the Savile inquiry looming around them, I don't know. But I would imagine that had something to do with it. Anyway, big round of applause for our first speaker and Chairman of the British National Party, Nick Griffin, MEP.
Thank you very much. What a great turnout. Back to winning. It's great to be back, isn't it? Yeah. We're the only game in town. You know that, don't you? Yeah. And everyone's going to know it. Everyone's going to know it. So, back to winning is the theme of this conference. I was on, as Simon mentioned, on Radio 5 Live this morning after a couple of problems with phone connections. We got through really properly. And the first thing they said was, well, do you feel vindicated? Talking about the McShane business. And I was able to say, yes, we're vindicated about McShane. We said he was a crook. He's a crook. We got him. And we're vindicated also by the Sun saying the other day the British National Party was right on grooming. I got that across. I rolled on. I said, and we're vindicated by no less an organisation than the International Monetary Fund saying that our policy to reform the banking system, to have sovereign states issuing credit instead of private banks, that's the only way out of the banking crisis. We've been saying that for decades, so we're right on that. So we're vindicated across the board. And I said, actually, we're very pleased with ourselves, because we should be. And I tell you, there's a lot more to come, especially on the grooming business. That's hardly started yet. You've all seen this tremendous leaflet, the Young British National Party leaflet. This is a slow burn. This is going to go bang. And you can help it go bang by the ladies here in person handing it out outside schools, by the organisers here doing everything you can to get some youngsters involved to hand these out in schools. And sooner or later the media are going to realise that this is getting to young people, in particular girls of 11, 12, 13-year-old, the vulnerable ones. And when they realise that's getting through, this is going to be a huge story. I'll tell you that. And it's going to absolutely cement in the people out there, in their heads, the fact they know already that the British National Party started raising the issue of Muslim grooming of our girls in 2001, that we've been through hell and back for it. My family have been through hell and back for it, but by God it's been worth it, because we're the reason that this story is broken. We're the ones who've done it, and we're the ones, therefore, who are going to save thousands upon thousands of youngsters from that fate in the months and years to come. And it is, of course, intimately connected, and I think the public are going to realise it's connected. The BBC conspired, spent a fortune trying to jail me for talking about the Muslim grooming issue. The same BBC has conspired and cheated to cover up the Savile issue. And as you know, that's rolling on. It's now rolling on now to senior Tory MPs. You bet your life the Labour Party in places like Leicester are absolutely terrified, because the Labour 25, now I think it's the Labour 41, that's only the tip of the iceberg, because the people who've been exposed and convicted in the Labour Party and the Lib Dems and the Tories for paedophilia so far have been the low-level ones. But at the top, through the House of Commons, through the House of Lords, there are interlocking paedophile gang rings who protected each other and each other's backs for decades, and I believe there's a serious chance it's all going to come out over the next few months. We're that close to the entire British political establishment and the media establishment as well being devastated by a scandal of enormous proportions which is going to touch and discredit and besmirch them all, but it's not going to touch us because we're clean, decent people. That's why they hate us so much. So, we're going to be back to winning there because the opposition, all of them, are going to be hugely, hugely discredited. That's going to be a big advantage. We're also going to be going back to winning because of what we're doing internally. What we've done, what we've achieved internally. 2 years ago, as you know, this party had been brought to its knees by various problems, as Simon was saying. I can tell you now that at the end of this year, we're now only, a few weeks away from the end of this year, we can say, honestly and proudly, that we've now been in budget surplus for 2 years, the British National Party. Two years ago, under previous treasurers, the only way this party was able to survive was by the party centre using regional funds, local funds, in order to survive. None of us at the top of the party were even told how bad it was. It just rolled on. It got to the stage, and a lot was made about it, some dishonestly, but also some truth, that the party centre owed the party regions and local branches £190,000. That's what we had to do to survive. Over the last 2 years, especially over the last year, that figure's been chipped away, money's been repaid. We haven't charged the regions, the units for leaflets, for freedoms. We've borne the cost of that centrally, so we've chipped down what's been owed. I can tell you that as of today, every single penny that this party had to borrow centrally to survive from the regions, the branches and the groups has been repaid. What's more, I can tell you, we ain't going there again. We're not going to have to do that again. We don't need to do it again. We've got a treasurer who, rather than being a bookkeeper, is fundamentally a businessman. We're on really solid ground now. We're in budget surplus. We're going to stay that way. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your faith. Together, we've got through it. And also, by the way, just on that, it is down to Clive Jefferson, but also to Jeff Dickens, James Mole. You've got a fantastic regional treasurer looking after your money and your interests there. It's a wonderful team, and they pulled us through. So that's enough of that. That was problems in the past. Now we can move on to positive things in the future. You see here today, this is at least a third, if not more, up on what we had last year. There's an enthusiasm throughout the party. Everybody knows it, spreading back, from the grassroots upwards. Things are going well there. We're the only game in town. The various little grouplets that splintered off, people who thought, oh yeah, we can have a go at this. There's lots of money there, there's lots of power there, there's lots of misery here, I tell you. Times there has been. But the people who thought they could have the glory and the money without the pain and the hard work, all failed, all gone, all stillborn. We are the only game in town for radical British nationalism. We're the only choice, and more people realise that. People are coming back. I know there's a few faces here, people who were off and away and disappointed and hurt and disillusioned. It's great to see you back. It's great to be back with the family together. We have got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of rebuilding to do. That's what this weekend is about, especially today is what it's about. There's a lot of work. To get back to winning in elections, we have to match at a local level what the Labour Party's done nationally with their postal votes. That has to be done. Postal votes don't grow on trees. They have to be secured. They don't come in blocks of 100 or 500. They come in blocks of ones and twos. When you're knocking on a door, when you're talking to people in a pub, when you're out on the doorstep, when you've got a stall out there and someone comes up and signs a petition. If you don't also get their postal vote as a matter of routine, then it's not going to happen. Another week drifts by without getting another one. Another month without getting another one. Another 6 months with only getting one or two. The Labour Party have done it because for 10 years they've simply said, I'm going to get a postal vote this week. All their activists. That's all they've said. There's nothing miraculous about that. And when they've got one, I'm going to get another postal vote next week. And next week, and the week after, and the week after. It's relentless. And that's what we've got to be, relentless. Otherwise we won't go back to winning elections. The system's there, everything's moving in our favour, but they've got that block vote. And if we don't match that block vote, then especially a disillusioned public, annoyed with all politicians, well, it's raining, I won't bother to go, even though I like the British National Party, that's what will happen. They won't bother to go. So the postal votes are crucial, and part of today is about improving the way that we work for collecting those, giving you the confidence to go out and collect them all the time. A lot of today is about demonstrations. As you know, this party over the last year, perhaps a little bit longer, but it's increasing all the time. We've moved from being a party which never did demonstrations to a party which, in fact, is dominated by local demonstrations. We've had some fantastic events with just 3 or 4 people have got us brilliant publicity. In others, we've had 100, 200 people, and it's given us, a sense of comradeship and cohesion and growth again. So whatever kind of demo it is, they're useful. But we're not doing them properly still. We've still got the demo, and people are coming from different organisations, and all the street ex-English Defence League people and so on. They're coming along, and we're saying, yeah, great to see you here, but have we got the forms to sign them up? Have we got the papers to give them, to sell them? We've got the hang of holding demonstrations. We've got the confidence to hold demonstrations. Whose streets? Our streets. Yep, we've got that, but now we've got to make sure the demonstrations feed in to what they're really there for, which is to giving the public more confidence and confidence in us, and they've got to feed into building this party. Because demonstrations by themselves don't achieve anything. It's demonstrations that wake the public up, bring the public in, which help to build the organisation, which can convert the public concern and anger into votes for radical change. That's what we've got to do, and that's what today we're going to go out, we're going to get wet with that demonstration. It's not an accident, it's not a whim, it's because we're good at demos now, but we're not good at converting them into solid, concrete support for our party, and that's what we've got to do. So that's what we're doing today. Other positive things, you'll have seen in your delegates packs and so on, the range of brilliant new leaflets that we've got, and there's more to come in the pipeline as well. And Charlie Wythe is going to be talking about that more later on today as well. We welcome your ideas, furthermore, for the leaflet range that we need, for the publicity range that we need to keep on pushing a really positive vision of nationalism across to people. What we do very simply, if you look time and time again at our leaflets, we used to muddle up negative and positive. All these terrible things are wrong, and here we are, which psychologically in the public's head tends to mesh us in and meld us in with the negatives and the problems. So from now on, you'll always look, on one side we've got the problem, all the dirt, all the muck, all the sleaze, slime and corruption of the old parties and their system is always on one side of the leaflet, and the positive, the British National Party, is always on the other. We've got to keep on telling people they're rotten, they're corrupt, they're crooked, but we've got to keep ourselves as distanced from that as possible. So always it's the negatives associated with them, the positives associated with us. I'm telling you this, and we're going to be hammering this home today and tomorrow as well, that's for you to do likewise. When you're talking to people, when you're on social networking and so on, keep in your own head the fact that we need to have this gap between all the horrors of the old system, and we need us to be positive. We need to get away from negativity. We need to get away from always just criticising. We need to get away from things which the public perceive as unfair, such as blaming all Muslims for the Muslim grooming gangs. Because they're not all to blame. As a matter of fact, the police, the politicians, the media are more to blame for Muslim grooming gangs than most Muslims in this country. It's as simple as that. So that's what we're here to do today. You know that we're not on an easy road, but you also know we're the only ones even on the road. We're on a long road, but we're on the road again. Thank you.